Rutgers Scarlet Knights fans, it's Larry K here. If you want to just do me a favor, because I'm in the worst place ever, even if it's, just because you're giving me the inspiration to keep doing this, click that subscribe button. While you're watching, if it comes to you while you're just watching my rant here, watch me just lose all hope, click the subscribe button to keep me afloat. I really appreciate it. Even if you're a Wisconsin fan, you're like, you know what, let me give this guy some props for coming up here so quickly after the loss and talking to us. Click subscribe. It takes a second. Just click it right there. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Could you guys do that for me? It's getting tough, man. It's getting tough to consistently come out here and represent this program and represent this team, represent my state. I go to the mat with other Big Ten guys and we discuss football, and Ohio State fans are out here and they're giving us props preseason, saying we could be dark horses to contend. People are giving us, 2 losses and 3 losses, including me. I predicted a 9-3 year. I go on with Rajiv from the Bucky Report, and he's giving us respect and saying like it's going to be a close game. And Rutgers goes out there. Wisconsin struggling this year a little bit. Rutgers supposedly really on one of the pinnacles of this rebuild, the first pinnacle that this rebuild under Schiano is supposed to have. We're supposed to have this full pipeline. We're supposed to have a manageable schedule for the first time since we've been in the Big Ten. We come up against a Wisconsin team who's a varsity team in this conference and a traditional team, and once again Rutgers is a JV squad, man. Rutgers is a JV program, and even a Wisconsin team that struggled, even at home, Rutgers just gets blown out at home and looks terrible doing it. And you got to wonder at this point, I'm not just saying this out of emotion, but this is true. If Schiano builds an entire team and upperclassmen are coming back and the schedule is advantageous and you catch teams who are struggling a bit, and you can't even have a respectable showing against Wisconsin at home, then is the ceiling for Rutgers just always being this JV program? Is the ceiling for Rutgers, 6 to 8 wins in an excellent, amazing, great year, and usually, 5 to 7 wins if you're lucky? I predicted a win. My streak of several games comes to an end today. It sucks. I thought you had to split Nebraska and Wisconsin to get the season to be what you hoped and wanted it to be. We fall and go 0-2 in that stretch. You got UCLA next week, and that could be a win. It could be a win, but then, you're not going to beat USC on the road. I don't think this team's going to do that. So then you pretty much got to run the table to go 9-3, and I just think that's a bridge too far. Most likely we'll reassess at the bye week, but just doesn't seem likely. Some really rough injuries to start. Taj White goes down on the first play of the game, comes back, and then doesn't come back again. If this pipeline is what it is, I don't think it's full enough to absorb those types of offensive line injuries. The loss of Felter was absolutely huge. I said it when it happened. Has not disappointed in terms of me being right on that. We can't run the ball nearly as well as we were at one point with Felter out of the game, and then on the third string guard, it's just not going to happen. And don't think that Wisconsin's so great that that's the reason. Wisconsin's run defense has been suspect this season. So the fact that Wisconsin, even with a suspect year on run D, can shut us down as well as it did just shows that, maybe the ceiling for this program is not what we thought it was. And there were a ton of recruits there today, and they got to see this ass whooping. Anybody who's been following the Big Ten and Rutgers got to see this ass whooping, and it puts us in our place. And it sucks, and it's embarrassing for somebody who's out here covering them and going so hard to rep them and thinking we have this potential, and you just get relegated to your place. And at this point, it's like, hey, maybe this Project Rudy would be a good thing for Rutgers. Relegate us. Put us in that old North, that old Big East, with those old Big East teams. Because the schedule is only going to get harder next year and the year after. And next year, we're not going to have all these upperclassmen returning. So it's just a brutal loss. Back to the injury front. Taj White goes down, comes back, doesn't come back after that. Aaron Lewis goes down. He did come back, and he played a drive or two, but then to start the third quarter, Aaron Lewis came out. I was there. I saw him on the sideline. No helmet. Wouldn't let him back in at the start of the third. He was doing some exercises on the sideline with the trainers to see if he could handle the tug and pull of the position. Looked like he had a collarbone injury. That's tough. Sam Brown goes down with a knee just in garbage time. Sam Brown goes down with a knee. And it looks like, we don't know. We'll get the report from Schiano when the doctors look at it. Everybody who's talking about it, who saw it, says, it could be one of those season-ending knee injuries. If that's the case, that's just devastating for that young man. He gave Rutgers his all. It's a tough situation. And if you have another catastrophic knee injury, how much longer do you give it a go? Do you switch programs, try to get a new start? Do you just say it's time to hang up the cleats for football? Not taking anything away from that young man, but that kind of reminds me of another kid we had, Paul James. Remember Paul James just going off, being an excellent back, but just those knee and leg injuries, and goes down against Penn State in 2014. You never really hear much from him again, and it's sad as hell that we add insult to injury towards the end of a game, losing a kid like that who was the difference in the Washington game, who was a great 1-2 punch. I know you got guys in the stable like Antoine Raymond, but it's just difficult to see, and just adds insult to injury and puts even more of a dark cloud over this season that we started with so much hope for. That's tough. You don't like to see that. The coaching has been abysmal. I got to be honest. Not fielding any punts whatsoever, ever. And Greg Schiano admitted that was a coaching philosophy decision last week in the presser. Just pathetic. At least field a punt so that it doesn't bounce to the 2-yard line when your offense is already struggling. This going into a turtle shell and playing scared all the time is not going to work. And it's just coming home to roost at this point. We look pathetic. When Kirk Ciarrocca can't run the ball with ease, he has no answers. No answers whatsoever. For everybody out there saying that Ethan Kaliakmanis was somehow going to elevate the team exponentially based on the assumption that Gavin Wimsatt was... the hate for that kid, Gavin Wimsatt, last year was ridiculous. People were acting like the only reason Rutgers had problems was because of Gavin Wimsatt. That is complete BS. It's been completely debunked. He's not a great quarterback. Ethan is more accurate, 100%. But this team has other problems. Long, dropping balls. Fletcher, dropping balls. Everybody on the team just dropping balls. Lacking separation. Offensive line having trouble when one guy goes down. The list goes on. Ethan Kaliakmanis, not a world beater. Now, I was excited about Ethan, I'll admit, because it said, wow, if Ethan's that much head and shoulders over Gavin Wimsatt and he can get the ball into the hands of our playmakers, just maybe we can really elevate ourselves a significant amount with a new quarterback. But he has not been good the last 2 weeks at all. He's been okay. Some of the balls were well placed and receivers just dropped it. Some of the balls were not placed very well. He's throwing balls in the dirt. He's been less than impressive. And his OC who brought him in, Kirk Ciarrocca, looks bland, mundane, and completely predictable. Completely predictable. No imagination whatsoever on offense. For 2 weeks now. A joke. The defense holds their own in the second quarter after really giving up a lot in the first quarter and gives us a fighting chance. And then you have special teams blunders, muffing a snap on a field goal kick. Just a joke. And then Patel doesn't even know what he should do. He tries to kick it. It's a block. We're lucky that wasn't a touchdown. That's coaching. That's coaching. Christian Dremel comes in. Haven't seen him in the offense all year, the leading receiver from last year. I get it. He's not as talented athletically. But all of a sudden, the kid comes up with a great catch down the field. Why isn't he getting more snaps if he's a more reliable kid? Why aren't you letting him field punts if he's a more reliable kid? You got him out there to literally be a decoy as the ball bounces every single punt. Every single punt. It's a joke. It's playing scared. It's playing like a JV program that's lucky to get out of the season with a bowl game. And maybe that's the joke that's been played on all of us fans. Maybe we are just that, and that's what Greg thinks of us, because that's how he's coaching. That's how his staff is coaching. It's been abysmal. I understand the injuries, and then Tyreen Powell, there's rumors out there he sat even though he was okay. That's not good. Is that another victim of the new frontier of college football, Tyreen Powell? We will soon see. We will soon see. But receivers dropping the ball all over the place. Powell out. Walker finally getting benched a little bit there. Just linebacker has no answers. I saw Kenny Fletcher get nicked up before the half on that incomplete pass. I don't think he came back. I didn't see Fletcher back, so that's another injury. And it's just absolutely brutal. All phases of the game, I put it on coaching, I put it on lack of preparation, I put it on lack of imagination, and I put it on a philosophy by this coaching staff and this program that we are going to play fearful and eke our way into a memorable season, and that is just a joke. What worries me the most is that we are starting again from scratch next year. Yeah, you have some guys coming back, maybe, who got hurt, but you're losing your upperclassmen next year, and you got a tougher schedule next year. This was supposed to be a season of achievement for this program if this program ever had the promise of achieving beyond that. And the fact that now we're going to have to run the table in November to get to 9 wins, or close to run the table to get to 8 wins, is really not looking good. And the fact that based on what I've seen in these last 2 losses, the offense looking absolutely impotent in every way, shape, or form, from play calling to quarterbacking to receivers to O-line play to everything aside from Kyle Monangai, leads me to believe that the ceiling this season may well be 7 wins or 6 wins again, which is a dismal failure given the way the schedule lined up. And not just because the schedule was softer, but because of the way bye weeks landed, the way travel landed, the way everything landed. It's a joke to go to that, for that season to end that way. And it's embarrassing. And I'm sick and tired of Rutgers getting to a point where they have a chance and then completely laying an egg in a big game against a legitimate opponent and looking like a joke and embarrassing us. You lose by a touchdown, you lose by a field goal, it happens. You come out and get absolutely embarrassed and you waste everybody's time. It's embarrassing. It's a joke. It's a joke. And I'm sick and tired of it. You have some crazy turn of events where there's a freak play, fine. We have turnovers. Shaquan Loyal coming up with an interception. Coming up with fumbles before the half. And the offense can't do anything. Nothing. No answers. No plays that you've been saving. Nothing new to try. Nothing. Kirk Shiraka is lost. He's lost. And his quarterback has not lived up to the hype in the biggest games that have mattered down the stretch so far. I told you last week that all was not lost. And I'll tell you this week that, hey, all is still not lost. We could run the table the rest of the way and have the most magical season ever. We could beat USC and have everybody talking, even though USC hasn't looked as great against Big Ten teams. But it's more likely we don't. And it's more likely that once again, we wind up in JV purgatory, despite all the promise, despite all the things that could have gone our way. And this game could not have gone worse, especially with the injuries. This game could not have gone worse in terms of the way we now feel about the outlook of the program going forward. This was an abysmal failure in every facet, in every iteration of the word. For this to be the end of the pipeline, and I know it's not the pinnacle, but this is supposed to be a building block, supposed to be a step, and this is what we get. I can't express how disappointed I am as a fan of this program right now. I cannot express how disappointed I am. And the fact that this offense has just had no answers, just every level of coaching and philosophy and management of this program right now is looking like a complete and utter failure. A complete and utter failure. And it's terrible. Special teams used to be the focal point of Shiano. It's gone. Running game can't get anything going after one injury and then a second injury at the same position. Defense playing okay. Not playing great, but playing okay despite the injuries. Players maybe sitting out. Players is all over the field, just losing them. That's bad luck, but that just... I don't know what else to say. It's just another year as a Rutgers fan because every season this happens. It just seems like every season this is the same story. And I'm so tired of it. Guys, I will be back with you to do a deeper dive on this game. I'll preview UCLA, which I'm still predicting a win, but I don't know that it moves the needle a whole bunch in the big picture. If you've been watching this long, whatever fan of any team you are, please click subscribe. give me that at least. You know, I'm here. I'm talking to you guys. I'm going to keep bringing you content. I'm going to keep covering this team despite how much pain they give me. And for that must be worth clicking a subscribe. It takes a millisecond of your time to click subscribe. Please click subscribe. Please join Night Watch. And I'll continue covering wherever this program may go. But just a terribly disappointing day on every level. A very unlucky day in terms of injuries and in terms of those things, and just kind of a crushing day if you're a Rutgers fan. And we have a lot of season left, so I'm not giving up entirely on a bowl game or a good season or anything. We're probably going to make a bowl game. We're probably still going to have a respectable year, but given what was at stake and given everything that lined up, this might put a severe ceiling on the season in the Schiano 2.0 era, and that's very disappointing if you're a diehard fan like I am. Click subscribe, guys. Click like. Join me on the next show coming out soon. Go watch the other content creators. And try to take your mind off the devastation that is Rutgers football right now. I will talk to all you guys very soon. Congratulations, Wisconsin. You've upheld your status as a premier program, and Rutgers has continued to be relegated to a level much below that. I'll talk to you guys later. Larry K. out.